Welcome back to the league that means nothing on Go Again Gaming.
So hello, welcome back to Go Again Gaming in the league that means absolutely nothing here on my channel. I'm going to be casting another game for you today, and only because we've got a Team Turd member in Andrew Mason against Matthew Zogman Garcia, and this is Maxx versus Olympia. With Maxx having a load of new tools, mainly wrench-orientated tools from the new Armory deck, coming up against Matthew's Jubilee Olympia deck. So I just thought this was quite a strange matchup, so I thought I would cover this one. Jubilee being a choice just out of pure aesthetics alone. So kudos to Matthew for running such a weapon, even though it means absolutely nothing in this particular matchup and absolutely nothing in general. But before we go into it, let's hear a message from one of our sponsors. This episode, League That Means Nothing, is brought to you by Invasion Comic Books, a comics and collectibles shop out of Canada, specialising in current and older books, but also stocking Warhammer, D&D, Funko Pops, Magic, Flesh and Blood, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but also some retro games as well across Sega, Nintendo, and PlayStation. Now, for viewers of the League That Means Nothing, you've got some cracking discount codes here. We've got TLTMN 10 for 10% off all of your Flesh and Blood singles, and we've got TLTMN Crew 10 for 10% off Sealed Crucible of War. So that's TLTMN 10 for 10% off Fab singles, and TLTMN Crew for 10% off Sealed Crucible of War. Make sure you go and check them out. Invasion Comic Books out of Canada. So here we go. Both players drawing up to begin this rather bizarre game, Maxx with Banksy against Olympia with Jubilee. So a steampunk, punk-looking bloke with a wrench against a gladiatorial man with a magical sword. This is what the League That Means Nothing is all about here in round one. And yeah, both heroes starting on 40 life, of course. No discrepancies there. And Andrew's going to start his turn with a red hyperdriver pitching a gas up by the looks of it. So that's going to enter the arena with 3 steam counters on it. And of course, getting that engine going for Maxx is what Maxx is all about. When this engine starts getting going, Maxx is going to be able to have so many resources on the back end of his turns. I'm sure we're going to see that over time. And of course we are getting the puffer jacket trigger here. That's a card that came in with the Armory deck, so non-token hyperdrivers enter the arena with an additional steam counter. So just keeping that engine around for longer is what the puffer jacket gives you. And of course it blocks for 2 as well, which is pretty cool. Nice little pickup in the Armory deck. And Andrew is definitely a mechanologist player at heart, but choosing to play this this Maxx deck with all the new stuff that came in the Armory deck. And we're going to see Olympia start off with a money where your mouth is, and then coming in with the Jubilee, obviously one floating from pitching that emboldened blade over there in the pitch zone. So this is coming in for 6. Just waiting on the confirmation of the wager. I imagine this is probably a deck that just wants to go all in. Yep, we are going to see the wager here. Wagering a gold. And obviously the on-hit of Spellbane Aegis, which means absolutely nothing in this particular matchup because Maxx doesn't do any arcane damage. Not to my knowledge, anyway. I don't think he does. But Spellbane just here for the absolute flavour. And fair play to Matthew for bringing it. That's just hilarious. But coming in for 6. We are seeing a stroke of foresight being played on top of this to bump it to 9. And obviously we are going to be able to draw a card and put a card back on top. Actually, no, we're not going to be able to because obviously Reprise has not triggered. So it's just coming in for a raw 9 damage. And Andrew just taking that to the face immediately. And Matthew being able to get some additional on-hit things come through here. They've got the gold, which is obviously going to be 2 because of Olympia's ability. So whenever you Win a wager, you get that gold from Olympia's ability, and obviously you just got that Spellbane Aegis hanging around for the sake of it, just for the sake of being pretty. But there we go, 9 damage gone through on the first turn. Emboldened Blade going to the bottom of the deck. And over to Andrew to follow up with Full Grip. Coming in with a, what looked like a Jump Start. Yep, Jump Start. And obviously when this attacks, it's going to remove some counters from the Steam counter as well. So it should have a Hyperdriver, generate a resource. We are boosting away a Hyperdriver off of the Jump Start as well. Yep, so we've got a resource there floating from the Hyperdriver. And of course, the Fist Pump is going to be pumping up the Wrench this turn as well, because he's banished a Hyperdriver this turn. So a couple of nice little synergies there from the Armory deck components. This is coming in for 5 with Go Again, because he boosted the Hyperdriver away. With 1 floating from the Hyperdriver that ticked down on the attack. And it looks like Matthew is going to be blocking with a Provoke. Blocks for 3. So 2 still going to be coming over the top of this. Yeah, so Matthew taking that 2 there. And Andrew Mason following up with a T-Bone by the looks of it. Yep, a yellow T-Bone, boosting away a Crankshaft. So that's going to put another Steam counter on the Hyperdriver, right? Yep, so that's going to go back up to 4. That's a lovely old job. And this is coming in for 2 and demanding a piece of equipment be blocked against it. You could see a follow-up with the Wrench here as well. And the Galea just being chucked under the bus here to block 2. Obviously, Olympia and Warriors in general do have a load of armor, which they can use. Olympia more so, because obviously you can visit the Golden Anvil to buy all his equipment back, so maybe we'll see that during this game. But we are seeing a Maxx activation. So we are going to get a Hyperdriver token, which is going to come into play with 2 Steam counters on it. Obviously you can crank this if he wants to. Yeah, which he is going to crank. He's going to get that action point back off of Max's ability. And looks like we can swing in with Banksy as the close here, which is pretty cool. Obviously, it's going to get that +1 from the Fist Pump earlier. That's going to be coming in for 4. So not a bad little turn there. Maxx being able to output, you know, quite a lot of damage to a certain degree, but also establish a board state which is just going to gas him up for the rest of the game. But we are seeing a clean block on the sink below, choosing to sink to put that card on the bottom and draw a card. Classic card there in sink below. But interesting turn. A lot of synergies there coming out of the Maxx Armory deck components, which is nice to see. And what's also nice to see is those Team Turd sleeves. A team that I did initially found. I don't really have too much time to lead it right now, but Team Turd members just playing for the love of the game, being in a team, despite not having any accolades whatsoever. Over to Matthew's turn now. He's got a couple of gold lying around from his wagers last turn. Magical Jubile's Spellblade, or whatever it's called, Spellbane at the Aegis. At the ready, I should say. At the Aegis also. But we're seeing an Iron Song Versus being pitched into here to come in 4-3 with the on-hit of Courage, with 1 floating. I think Matthew's using a Sunflower Samurai dice there, which is I've got the exact same one. Daniel Correas gave me one when I matched up against him in was it Heavy Hitters Sealed we did in Barcelona. I think it was Heavy Hitters Sealed. Maybe it was Rosetta. I think it was Rosetta, actually, yeah. It was an Aurora Mirror, if I remember correctly, that me and Daniel Correas partaked in. He smashed me, of course. Had a couple of good turns, but he did rinse me, and he gave me a Sunflower Samurai dice for my troubles. But we are seeing a block with the boots here. I think these block for 2, these new boots? I cannot remember, and I can't see the number on the bottom of that there. We are seeing a block nonetheless for this 3 coming in with the Jubil. Threatening another. Well, not another, because he's already got a Spellbane Aegis token, but he's established that for the board just to look pretty. We are going to be pitching into the grains to get some extra resources, which is another great tool that warriors do have these days. Just making the use of those extra resources to carry over onto following turns. And we do see the repercussions of those grains resources really do come into effect as the next turns do play out. And we are seeing a Boom Grenade red being played here. Looks like we are going to be cranking this to get our action point back. And then coming in with what looks to be, yep, a bull bar. I need to try and edit these videos a little bit better because the card art is being cut off on some sides, so that's my bad. But luckily, I've edited it in a way where the cards flash up so we can see what's going on. Bull bar coming in for 5. Boosting away a jump start. And obviously this does have overpower as well because Andrew does control a hyperdriver, and obviously as a result of the attack we are going to get some more resources from both of these hyperdrivers, and one of them is going to go away. So there's a lot of resources again on the back end of Maxx. It's just, can you utilise those resources effectively? You know, I almost feel like we are seeing a clean block here of 5 by the looks of it, but I do feel like there needs to be maybe some sort of sip, start in play, stay in play equipment that then converts those resources into damage, if you know what I mean. So we are going to be using Maxx's ability to get another hyperdriver into play. Probably going to be cranking this as well, because obviously the counter's not being put onto it. So it's coming in with 1 rather than 2. So obviously we can get our action point back there and hopefully threaten this Boom Grenade. But what I was saying was, if there was something, because Maxx generates so many resources at the end of the turn, maybe there's something in the future that could be like something that zaps the opponent for the amount of resources that he has left over at the end. Because we do see a lot of turns where Maxx doesn't actually utilise every single resource. So maybe that could be something cool. But anyway, coming in with Banksy for 3. Obviously, if this hits, you get to put a steam counter on an item you control. But it looks like it's just being blocked by a blue overpower. So not being able to get much damage through on this Olympia right now. And we have seen in the past, like Decimator lists and what have you, and just warriors in general can block really, really effectively, and that's what we're seeing here, with not much damage leaked whatsoever. We are seeing the Vigor crack to start off a resource, which is going to be fueled into the Iron Song Versus, so obviously just to add an additional 1 hit onto the next attack. And we are just going to play a Hold'em. Next warrior attack gets +1, and wagering a Vigor. And this Jubil just going to be coming in for 4. With the on-hit 5. Oh, because of the courage last turn. Yeah, because of the courage last turn. Coming in for 5, threatening a Vigor as well. And it looks like Andrew's just going to take the whole damage. Replenishing that courage again, getting another Vigor. Being able to pay another 1 into Grains of Blood Spill to carry even more resources over to the next turn. Matthew is looking like both of these players are setting up some big board states, gold, steam counters, items. Unfortunately, that Boom Grenade is going to go away, but both players trying to get a decent board state out to further their game plan. We are seeing a recharge here to put a steam counter on a hyperdriver that Andrew controls, and getting the next attack +4 that he boosts. I'll see a few of these 1-cost +4s in the new set as well in High Seas, the Mechanologist cards that do the untap a gun, untap an item sort of stuff. We are seeing a T-Bone boosted for 7. this is going to be forcing a piece of equipment, which is going to be the Grains of Blood Spill, which is going to block for 2, and obviously the hyperdrivers are going to tick down. This is what Andrew likes. Lots of things ticking down, little engines being built. That's why the mechanologist at heart. It's a good good experiment to play with Maxx. We are seeing a block of 6 in total here with the Fate 14. Looking at the top card of the deck, choosing to leave it there by the looks of it, and then just taking 1, going down to 37 life. He's going to follow that up with another T-Bone. This time a yellow one, boosting away a Bull Bar. And that's going to be coming in for 2 with Go Again. 2 resources floating here, so can still come in with the Banksy as well. I think Andrew cranked this turn with the Hyperdriver. Or he can at least crank with the Hyperdriver after this, potentially. But yeah, blocking with the Refraction Bolters nonetheless. Forcing that through the T-Bone. Matthew taking another 1 damage. We are going to see the Maxx ability here. It's going to come in with 2 steam counters on it. But it looks like that is the end of the turn. Just establishing more Hyperdrivers. And of course, Hyperdriver payoffs do come in the sense of the Nitro Mechanoid as well. So that's another game plan that Maxx can go towards if he wants to, with all these Hyperdrivers. You're going to see the Iron Song Versus come in with a Commanding Performance and then a Jubil. Now, all of that came from 1 resource, which is quite impressive, because obviously the 2 Vigors cracked at the start of the turn. And this is coming in 4-7 with the Commanding Performance and the Courage behind it. We are seeing a block from the helmets by the looks of it. Commanding Performance as well. Reading that if Andrew just does decide to block with an action card, I believe, or attack action card, I think is out as Arsenal gets destroyed. But we are seeing the Breaker Helm Protoss. He's discarding a Hyperdriver to bring that up to 2 defense and drawing a card. So another card that was in the Maxx Armory deck. So blocking 2 at the moment. Filtering that Hyperdriver out of hand and drawing a card. But we are seeing a Provoke being played in reactions here. So the defending hero is going to reveal a card from their hand, and if it's an action card, add it to the chain link. And that does combo with the Commanding Performance, right? Action card, add it to the chain link defending. So that would mean that Commanding Performance would also trigger. That's what Matthew seems to be pointing at here. So that's a cool little combo between those 2 cards. Looks like we're adding a payload to the chain link. Commanding Performance will trigger and blow up the Arsenal. Yeah, so that is a very, very good little interaction there between Provoke and Commanding Performance. Andrew just taking some damage on the back end of that. 2 damage as well. It's a nice little interaction there between those 2 cards, which Matthew, I think, is just pointing out now at the moment. And the 1 floating is going to be funneled back into the Grains of Blood Spill. And obviously we're going to get that Courage as well to just carry over some more little +1 breakpoints on the Jubil as well. So Matthew stringing together some really, really interesting combos here. The Aegis is just hanging around for good measure. The cold foil one as well. Just a little bit of bling going on here today. And we are seeing a Heist come in 4-5. Pitching a blue Hyperdriver, which is going to boost the card that we saw earlier, Recharge, which isn't going to do anything. But this is coming in for 5 with Go Again. Obviously, if this hits, he can put an item of cost 0 or 1 from any banished zone into an arena under his control, which at the moment, I don't think there is any banished items. I don't think. Might be a few Hyperdrivers, maybe. But 5 Go Again. coming in at Matthew. Sporting a lovely Olympia playmat there, the Up the Ante. It's always a lovely one. Always a good card to see come off as well if you are an Olympia player. It's good fun, that one. Really cool. But we are seeing a clean block here again from the grains, followed up by the Fateful Scene, which is looking like it's going to stay on top. Clean block again of 5 here. Let's see what the follow-up is. We've got 3, or is that 4 resources floating over there? I think it might be. Yeah. 4 floating. Wow. Okay. Going to be activating Maxx, cranking it so we get our action point back, and we still have a follow-up, and that is going to be the Banksy coming in for 3. And this is what I'm saying here, that there's a lot of resources like hanging around at the end of the turn, so maybe that could be something that we may see in the future. Because it seems like there's a lot of wasted resources from all the stuff that you're trying to do. We are seeing a block for 1 on the helmet. So the wrench is just going to go pinging off of the prize Galea. And looking like the Iron Song's coming in as well to defend 2 in total. So taking 1 damage from the wrench. Obviously, when that wrench hits, he can put a steam counter back on an item he controls with crank. So that has been done for that original hyperdriver that stayed in play for the longest time. Being able to Arsenal a card and draw up. But we are going to see an edge ahead and a commanding performance. Wow, okay, coming in with a Jubil and a Courage. That is a big turn coming in there from Matthew. A huge sword swing with edge ahead being wagered as well for an agility. So that is pretty big stuff. Coming in for 10 damage. 10 damage wager, 1 floating. And this is all made possible from those Vigors. Again, those Vigors do last a long time. Repercussions and ripples across all future turns. It's going to show that those little bits of resources that you get at the start of your turn can really make a big difference when turns like this come around. Andrew behind quite a lot on life, now staring down a 10 attack with seemingly a lot of on-hits because of the agility, because of the courage, because of the potential vigor. Matthew's just getting all of this stuff now. We are going to be cracking our Refraction Bolters this turn as well, to come in with a, wow, Visit the Golden Anvil. What a way to use an action point there after cashing in all that value from that equipment. And here we go, Galea, Grains of Bloodspill, Brayforge Bracers now, and quick dodge flexors right at the bottom there. Wow, what a re-equip that is. Holy hell. We're back in the game, even though we never left it. We are in a commanding position now with so much more block available on board. Jubil. Hilarious. This is what the League That Means Nothing is all about. At Andrew Mason's expense, of course. But I know Andrew, he's not going to be salty about this. He's there for the crack. There for the crank, I should say. But we are going to play a gas up. Next attack getting +4 if it's boosted, and you can put a hyperdriver from the banished zone into the arena. So we did have a hyperdriver in there. That is going to come in with the 3 counters on it. We've got an abundance of hyperdrivers right now, but can we do anything to cash those in for some value this stage in the game? We will see. It's going to come in with 3 counters on it. But yep, the next attack he's going to boost, gets +4. And it's going to be a 0 to 60, coming in for 8 with Go Again. Boosting away a T-Bone. So it is going to come in for 8 with Go Again. It should be 8, that one. Not 7. Not sure what's happened there. That should be... Oh, there we go. Coming in for 8. With lots of floating resources on the back end. Now, we do have some follow-up here. We still got a card in hand and a card in arsenal. Looks like we are blocking for 3 on the route. And taking the rest. Going down to 30. So starting to whittle the life down a little bit, but Matthew does have a load more life in that armour to play with now as this game rolls on. For a chance to go 1-0 into the second round. We are going to use Max's ability to create a hyperdriver, which I imagine we will probably crank so we can at least get another swing with Banksy in this turn, which we are going to do, yep. Obviously, our action point has now been replenished. I think we've actually got 2 action points here as well because we had go again, but we've also just created a hyperdriver. Yeah, so we are going to play the clamp press. So this is one of the cards that came in the armory deck as well, which just gives your wrenches extra attack, +2. So it just makes those wrench swings a lot more efficient. But obviously we've seen that whenever you hit with a wrench, you can put a steam counter back on something. So obviously with Banksy, you can just keep putting the steam counters back on the clamp press. So it just means that your weapon then just becomes a 1 for 5 if you've cranked, which is pretty good. But we are going to see a full block there. Matthew just denying that on hit. Probably not wanting to see that clamp hang around for longer than usual. Because a 1 for 5 is pretty good if you continue to crank. Just seems to be a lot of extra hoops that you have to jump through here. But we are going to be cracking an agility, coming in with an edge ahead, and then a Jubil swing for 6. This does have go again because of the agility. And we're also waging another agility as well. And that has been fully blocked by Andrew, which is absolutely fine. Andrew does get the agility as well because of the wager was, I want this to hit, but it didn't. So Andrew now does have the agility under his control if he wants to use it or utilise it. We'll see what he wants to do with that, see if that makes a difference at all to anything that he does plan to do. Just cleaning up the cards from the previous block. Both players just checking what the agility can do. We are going to see the clamp press tick down just the 1. So, as long as Andrew cranks this turn, the Banksy is still going to be coming in for 5 because of that clamp press. Still got a large engine just fueling these back ends of the turns here. When we attack, we get a bunch of resources, so figuratively, Andrew should be able to play most cards on most turns. And we are seeing another hyperdriver be established, pitching away a big Bertha. It's going to be 2 resources. Are we going to crank that? Looks like we probably will. The counter's just slightly off screen, but I imagine we are going to be cranking this to get our action point back so we can at least swing with the Banksy. And that looks like that's what we're probably going to be doing. Not sure what the Arsenal card is. But I think if you're Matthew right now, you're thinking, I'm in a good spot here. Because this is just coming in for 5. We've got a plethora of cards to block with. And we are getting to that stage where we can start to threaten lethal on our weapon alone very, very soon. So a big margin for Andrew to make up here. But blocking it out fully, 4-6, just being patient. Never underestimating anything, just getting that clean block. Making sure that Maxx can't get that Banksy trigger to put another steam counter back on the clamp is what Matthew's trying to do here. And we are just seeing a Jubil come in for 3, leaving some resources floating, which are probably going to be used to put that back into the grains and arsenal that last card in hand, just extending the future turn to maybe beyond, outside of Andrew Mason's capabilities here, as this game slowly runs away from him. But coming in for 3, nonetheless, with this Jubil Spellbane, we are seeing a stroke of foresight after no blocks by the looks of it. So it's going up to 6. And we are going to be using the Galea as well here. Oh, sorry, the Grains of Blood Spill, to pump that back in, get a Vigor out, deal 6 damage to Andrew. And now, looking at Andrew's last hurrah here, on 6 life with a 5-card hand. Lots of resources to play with. Playing out a Throttle, pitching another blue Big Bertha. So it's coming in for 6. With Go Again off of the boost, boosting away another Throttle. Obviously this is coming in for 6 with Go Again, and should have a bunch of resources on the back end because of the hyperdrivers as well. That's just what we're going to see now. All these are going to tick down. And we're going to go up to 5 floating. So I mean, there's so much resources there. Like, how do we convert those resources, like, on the latter ends of a turn? How do we do that? That's the main question. Six Go Again. And it's a great turn starter as well. You know, you got this big 6 Go Again attack, but what is going to follow that? We're probably going to be using Maxx to crank in another hyperdriver, which means we can then use Banksy, which comes in for 3. But then what else have we got with all those resources? That's the question. It's a cool deck to see play out, though. I think that the clamp thing should also be gone now as well, right? Which is still in play at the moment. But we are following up with a Heist. Coming in for 5, boosting away a Bull Bar. So coming in for 5 with Go Again. And we still have the resources here to crank a hyperdriver into play with Maxx, and then swing with Banksy. After we pay 2, we're going to have 1 left, so we can still swing into Banksy. So maybe there is still some more zero-cost stuff that Andrew can do as well on this turn. Maybe whatever's sat in the arsenal there could be something else that extends it further. Matthew just choosing to take the damage. Yeah, we're going to see the Maxx activation to get another hyperdriver into play, which is going to be cranked, I imagine, to turn on the Banksy. So we've still got 1 resources left. What is the arsenal card? It's still there. Okay, so not utilising that arsenal card. Bit of a shame. And, yeah, the clamp is stuck around this turn, but is going away next turn, then, if that's the case. But fully blocked out with the Galea, which he rebought with the Golden Anvil. And 1 card from hand just means that we can use the Vigor to fuel the sword. And then we've got 3 cards in hand. This is a bit of a tricky spot now for Andrew to navigate, because obviously he's playing against a warrior. We all know what warriors can do over the top. That reaction speed, right? So Andrew is now into that do or die situation. Doomed in either scenario sort of situation, because if he doesn't block, he could die, but if he does block, his turn is nullified to a certain degree where he probably won't be able to catch up. So it's all about taking those gambles now. Still got some block on the equipment though. Puffer jacket, fist pump. I think maybe a few more blocks on those helmets there. If we can discard a hyperdriver, I think it gets +1. So we might be able to get another use out of that potentially. But yeah, we are seeing the armour being chucked in here. The puffer jacket and the fist pump, which is for 3, I believe. Which is a clean block right now. So Matthew would have to find 6 damage to kill Andrew in this moment. Andrew's probably just contemplating whether he can afford to block with another card from hand, maybe just to nullify some damage that might come over the top. It looks like we are blocking for 3 here as well, blocking for 6 by the looks of it. We are going to see a reaction, which is going to be the prized Galea, so wagering a gold on this attack. Still not going anywhere though, but we are going to see a double take the upper hand. Wow, so that goes up to 9 damage. So it looks like we are going to be leaking 3 damage here. Yep, leaking 3 damage. And obviously we can pump one of those resources that we have left over into the Grains of Bloodspill. Grains is such a good card. Maybe Warrior's the next deck I try and play when Azalea goes away. Do love Warrior. Grains is probably one of my favourite pieces of equipment ever. Just love that value that you get out of it. It's just really cool. Having resources available at the start of your turn is just something that really speaks to me. Don't know what it is, but... Here we go. Andrew Mason, 3 life left. What can he conjure up against Matthew here, who's in a commanding lead with lots of armour left over after visiting that golden anvil? We are seeing a 0 to 60. Come in for 4, boosting away a Fast and Furious, so we are going to get a steam counter on something here. Probably just going to be putting that back on the hyperdriver. And of course, the hyperdrivers will tick down as a result of this attack. So 2 of those hyperdrivers will be disappearing here and leaving Andrew with 3 resources on the follow-up. It's coming in for 4 with Go Again. Even if there was like some cards that said, you know, if this is the second card you played, if this is the second chain link or something that you control after you've like got all the resources from Maxx, maybe it has an additional effect, because it seems like these resources coming in the second or third things you do each turn, it's hard to convert them into big effects, right? Maybe that might be too powerful though, but I don't know. I'm not a designer, but it just seems like there's a lot of resources hanging around which aren't necessarily spent effectively, but I might just be talking trash. Speaking of trash, we've got a clamp press coming in here. Not because the card's trash, but because, you know, press, you know, sometimes there's like mechanical things that press down trash, like compactors and stuff. That's where I was going with that, you know. But anyway, that is going to be coming in. That is going to be cranked. We are going to see a Maxx follow-up here to create another hyperdriver, which we are going to crank as well, and using that last resource to follow up with a Banksy for 5. That seems like a pretty cool turn. But at this point, just threatening damage is nowhere near enough. Haven't been able to clobber Olympia enough, or give him... Andrew hasn't been able to give himself a window where he's been able to capitalise. It's been hard to get through this whole game. You know, I'm just going to see Olympia just get some resources off of the Vigor to swing Jabil for 3, which is now lethal. This is the battle that Andrew is now in. It's now become a vital block with a card from hand if he wants to survive. Warriors capable of grinding you down, even with the Jabil Spellbane being used here as an absolute flex. Love to see it. Only in the league that means nothing. Only in the league that means nothing. Great sportsmanship from both players. Just loving life. Playing some games that mean absolutely nothing here on Go Again Gaming. I appreciate everybody's efforts to record these videos and organise their games with their opponents. It's quite a large operation that I run here now, and brung on a load of different commentators and casters for this season, so all the work is not just on Ian and myself, but spreading it thin, giving other people the chance to do some casting and brush up on their skills. And just experiment, right, with what you want to do. You know, casting, if it's something you want to do, the League That Means Nothing will give you the opportunity just to flex that if you want to do that. So in future seasons, again, I'll be looking for other casters to get involved and just lend their voices to help diversify the cast. So it's not just Ian and not just me doing it all the time. But we are seeing a block on the helmet. So maybe this helmet still blocks for 1 in the absence of that hyperdriver discard. Oh, we are discarding a hyperdriver. There we go. So it's blocking for 1. And it's got the puffer jacket blocking for 1 as well. So we are blocking for 2 at the moment. Andrew taking the 1 damage. Equipment is now gone. Clamp press is going to tick down. So Banksy still able to come in for 5 this turn if Andrew cranks. Be interesting to see what Andrew can throw together on this turn. Representing Team Turd and the Go Again Gaming 1K celebration playmat there. Thanks for being with us for so long here on the channel. It's been a wild journey. Nearly, 4 years now. I started the channel back in 2021 and it's been 4 years now. And it's only been on the 4th year or 3rd year, I think I started the League That Means Nothing last year, that I came up with this idea, and this has been the best idea really so far, honestly. So it took me 3-4 years to get to this point on the channel where I've really found something that I can have as a consistent piece of content that hopefully is entertaining everybody that watches it and engages with it and plays in the thing as well. I've had 90 players this season, which is pretty insane. Andrew just playing out a blue hyperdriver with a red gas up. That doesn't seem good. Having to crank as well. Having to crank that away when it has no steam counters, destroy it. So maybe he's had to play that card to get a crank so he can swing the Banksy. Maybe is that the line that he's had to construct here? What is going on? What is this? Blessing of Ingenuity. Haven't seen this card for ages. Wow. Destroy it and put up to 3 hyperdrivers from the graveyard into the arena. Okay. So that was an interesting hand that Andrew had to try and navigate. Wow, okay. That's not looking good. Matthew on the offensive now with a 5-card hand. Not having to use any resources to block there. Starting with a money where your mouth is. Pitching away a Fateful Scene. Coming in for 6 on the Jubil Spellbane. With a card in arsenal and a card in hand. Wagering the gold as well with the money where your mouth is. This has been tough. This has been tough for Max. Leave a comment in the section below as to what you feel like Max needs or any suggestions on what you would do with this deck. But nevertheless, it's been a fun game with Matthew now threatening lethal on board. Threatening not only lethal, but threatening a on-hit of a gold ×2. The crowd really getting behind Olympia to slay this mechanologist as he wagers. And we are seeing an Iron Song response, pushing that up to 9. and we have no reactions in hand. So Andrew drops to 0 and loses that game. That was really, really tough for Maxx, but fair play to Andrew for playing the deck, which is very fresh out the gates, really, with regards to the Maxx Nitro Armory deck and using all the tools from that. It's good to see some of those tools in effect there, but just got grinded out. Olympia just had the time to block effectively and just keep threatening some on hits. And those grains of blood spills really carried through on that game. And that golden anvil turn where he's able to buy back all the equipment is just a power play in Olympia. Only Olympia can do that, right? So, yeah, good game. Matthew moving on to the 1-0 bracket, and Andrew Mason, you still got time to bring it back with Maxx. But as we go into round 2, all of the High Seas heroes will be legal to play, so you're going to see a lot of High Seas heroes next round as well. Thanks for everybody who's tuning in so far. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, do all that good stuff. And yeah, if you like the content that you see here, there's a donate button, or there was a donate button on the stream, so you can donate there as well if you like what we do here. But apart from that, we'll see you next time to do it all over again here on the Go Again Gaming YouTube channel for the league that means absolutely nothing. Goodbye.